Good morning, everyone. I want to show you how I'm going to make a split cover card to match the St Tropez mini album I made. In case I give it as a gift, I always like to have a card or a tag to go with it. So I happened to find an envelope in my stash that was 5 3/4 by 8 1/4, and so I needed a little bit larger card. And so I am going to make a card out of the craft cardstock that I got from Country Craft Creations. It's the linen cardstock. The first piece that I'm going to use for the base measures 5 1/2 by 10. Okay, so 5 1/2 across, 10 up and down. I also need a piece that is 2 1/2 by 5 1/2. Okay. I need a piece that is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, and you'll notice I did round my corners. I have I use this corner rounder. And so on this part, I'm going to use one of the small 3x4 cards that came with the St Tropez packet. So I went ahead and I chose this one that I'm going to put on there. I went ahead and used this corner rounder out just to make sure that they matched. Okay, so I'm going to use this 3x4 cut apart or card that came with that I ordered. What size? Hold on. No, I don't have it with me. I did use the Tim Holtz vintage photo around the edges on this. Okay, and you'll notice I added a puffy sticker that's sunglasses and a scooter down at the bottom. Can't give too much dimension if you're going to put it in an envelope. Okay, so that's just going to go right here like so. Okay. The other things you're going to need is I chose to do white on the inside, and so that's 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. So I just went 1/4 of an inch smaller than my main base is going to be. So it's 5 1/4 across and 7 1/4 up and down. And then you'll need 2 pieces of designer cardstock or pattern paper, and I cut both of those at 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. I did go ahead and around the edges I used the vintage photo by Tim Holtz. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. This should be a real quick and easy card, especially being as I already have the things cut out. So let me clean up my area a little bit here, and let's start with the larger piece. That's 5 1/2 by 10, and I'll get my scoreboard out, and I'm going to place the 10-inch side along the top of my scoreboard, and I'm going to go ahead and score at 7 1/2. Okay. And I'm just going to do that twice to make sure I get that's all the scoring you need to do. So now I'm going to bend that back on the score line and burnish it with my bone folder. Okay, so this is actually going to be the top of the card, and then you had cut that other piece that's going to be the bottom of the card. Okay. And so we're going to need something to hold the 2 pieces together, and that's where this piece comes in. Okay, so let's go ahead and adhere our designer paper. I want the one that looks like water down at the bottom, and so I'm going to use my art glitter glue. I think I need to soak it a little bit. It's starting to get pretty gummy, I think. Even though I clean it after, I get the excess glue off. I've had it for quite a while now and have never had to soak it in warm water, so I'm probably getting close to that time. This is going to be a super fast card. You're going to love it. And so I'm just going to place that on the 2 1/2 by 5 1/2 sheet that's going to go on the bottom. Okay, make sure it's on real good. Looks like that. And I'm going to place the adorable paper that has the bike and butterfly and pineapple at the top. Put my art glitter glue on the back. Center that so that everything lines up nice and neat. Give it a good push. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and place my white piece that I'm going to be writing on the inside, and so I'm going to go ahead and adhere that. And again, this was 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. Okay, and eyeball that. Looks pretty good to me. Flatten it down. Okay, so I'm just going to eyeball this for right now. I'm going to place that bottom piece on there, and so I need to be able to put, I'm going to stamp a sentiment on there. Now the 3x4 card that I chose does have some writing on there, but I still want to write something that's going to show up right here. So I chose the, I have a stamp that says "for you," so I'm just going to stamp that on there. And I am going to use black Ranger ink. Make sure I ink it up real well. I don't stamp a whole lot. I mean, I used to do it a lot more than I do now. Alright, looks like I have quite a bit of ink on there. So I'm just going to eyeball it as to where it should go. And let's put it right there. Okay. So you can see it says "for you." I'm going to go ahead and adhere the 3x4 card onto the craft cardstock. I guess the reason why I don't do cards as much as I used to is just because I like to add so much embellishments and flowers that you can't really put them in an envelope, so unless you buy a special envelope. So a lot of times when I make cards, I just put them inside of a gift bag and I don't put them in a card. Okay, so that's adhered. So we need to attach the 3x4 card to the top and bottom. And so I am going to start with the bottom and just put some glue on that bottom piece. And I'm going to line it up to make sure I have it in the right spot. And I'm just going to put that right about there. Okay. Push it down a little bit. And I'm going to now add some glue on the top. Oops. Okay, so again I need to line up this bottom to make sure I have it in the right spot. And I'll just lay that down and push down to make sure it adheres. And so now when you lift the card, that comes up and you can write something over here on this side and it will be covered up. Okay, so it's really cute, but it's not enough. I need something else to add. So I still have some of these, what do they call them? Self-adhesive embellishments. They're the sparkly, they look like little crystals, kind of, or bubbles. And because this bottom piece looks like water, I think I'm just going to put some of those along the bottom. But I still feel like I'm going to need something on the top. So I don't know if I'm going to put a bow with seam binding. I don't know. We'll just have to kind of lay things out and see how it looks. So let me bring the camera down a little bit closer. Let me zoom it a little bit. Okay. And so I'm just going to place some of these along the bottom, a variety of colors. Now my air conditioning is starting, so if you hear a noise in the background, I apologize. So I want a variety of the colors and the sizes. And you want to make sure that when you pull these off the sheet that you get that adhesive piece too, because you'll see on some of them I left the glue actually stayed on the plastic. So when I take them off, I'm trying to make sure my fingernail lifts that adhesive stickery part. And I need a few more. I usually like to do odd numbers too, so I have 3. Let's go with this one. Let's do another dark one on the top. Need maybe a smaller one down here. No, it's too empty for me, so I'm going to fill in just a couple more. Yeah, almost done. I think I need one more here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that'll give me an even amount. Let's see how it looks when I put it down there. I think it needs to be a smaller one. Maybe I don't need one. Maybe I don't. I don't want to overdo it, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. That's going to look like bubbles, hopefully, in the water. But I still feel like I need something up here. And because it has to be somewhat flat, I do have some flowers left. But I have a feeling that that won't fit in my envelope. So that's not going to work. So let's brainstorm here. I have some more chipboard pieces. I also have some seam binding. So I think I'm going to go the seam binding route. I have some different colors to choose from. So for me, the best way is just to kind of lay it out and see. Don't like the green color because this is more aqua or blue. I have a rose pink color, which is an option because there's some pink up at the top. I have a brownish color. Ooh, that's in the running also. And I have the blue. This blue is a little bit different than the bottom blue, so I can narrow that one out. So it's between this pink, that pink, and this. I think this gives it a little more punch because it's a little darker. So I'm just going to make a little bow. And I am not a professional bow maker by any means. It's nice though with the seam binding, just because it's not a double-sided pattern. It doesn't matter if it, oopsie, I lost the piece. It doesn't matter if it gets a little twisted because the front and the back are the same. So there's really not a right and a wrong side. And you do have to play with it a little bit. At least I do before I'm happy with it. And like I said, kind of twist it. And pull. I think the loops are too big. I'm just going to pull a little bit. Oh, you probably can't even see what I'm doing, sorry. Okay. Now how did that get? Okay, so to me that's about the right size. So I'm going to take my scissors and just angle it. And I can put it up here. I can put it in the center, which so far I like. I could actually put it on the card on the corner. Decisions. I like it either here or up in the center. If I put it up in the center, I have some metal pieces left. I wonder if I could hang, I have a starfish. Let's see what that looks like. Let's see. So I don't really have this mapped out in my head before I start until I know what paper I'm going to use. Ooh, it's stuck in this plastic. So let's take a look at the starfish, and I have an anchor also. So it's a metal embellishment, and let's see what that looks like if I tuck it underneath there. That's not bad. If I put it here, I don't think it'll look right to have this metal. No, that's too much. So I think I'll go with putting it up there. What do you think? Will that work? I think I'm going to go with that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to leave the, usually I take my pliers and I just snip off this round ring if I don't need it, but I'm going to use that to help me gauge where to put it. So, and I'll glue that part down. So I want this at the top, and it's going to go about right there. So I'm going to, if I use the art glitter glue on here, it will work and it will adhere metal, but I just kind of need to leave it alone and let it sit for a second. Not try and move it too much. Okay, so I got glue on the front, of course, but it dries clear. Let me try and get as much off as I can. Okay, so again, it's going to go about right there. So I'm going to push it down. I'm going to try and get some extra that's seeping out here. I should have toothpicks down here where I craft, and then I could get some of that excess glue off easier. But it dries clear. I got to keep telling myself that. Let me get the pin. Oh, please, there it is. Just see if I can get some of that off of there. Okay, that'll work. And now the last thing I'm going to do, make sure my bow's tight, and I'm just going to adhere that right on top of there where that circle part is. And I put some of the glue on it. I'm going to hold it there. And because I made my card just a hair smaller than the envelope, it's okay if these bows stick up just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to leave this to dry and not touch it. Okay, and there's our card. And that will go, if I give the St Tropez paper mini album to someone, I will include this card so that it matches. So hopefully that was quick and easy for you. There's a lot of different things you can do with the piece that you combine. You can stamp something, you could use a picture of an actual person, the sentiment can be anything. So thanks for watching, and hope you give it a try. Pretty easy card.